We're all living in a world gone geek. It's time to geek hard or go home. The website is fake, but the podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We took a little hiatus, life and work caught up with us, but we are back, and this is episode 11 of The Podcast is Real. I, for one, am glad to be back, and of course, glad to welcome back my co-hosts, good old Utah, and of course, the amazing Aaliyah. How are you guys doing this week?
Hiatus. No, there's no hiatus here. Hi, greetings, fellow programs. Glad to be back.
I didn't even know how, had no idea how to respond to that. It was just dead silent. We're like, what just happened? But that's all right. Hiatus. Yes. How was your hiatus, Aaliyah?
Yeah, it was great. Missing the podcast is real, but it was good. Yeah. Catching up on some work.
Awesome.
That wasn't fun.
Well, let's be honest. The only reason that we came back, and the only reason anybody tuned in to this 11th episode, was to find out what happened with Rosie the bunny, which we talked about last couple times, I think, and even on game night, we talked about this bunny and it potentially faking the pregnancy. Do we have baby bunnies yet or not? I should breaking news. Are there bunnies or not? I should have a sound effect for this, and I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but I think this is making the sound.
Nobody can hear you.
I know, but somehow there's breaking news. Aaliyah, baby bunnies?
No, Rosie is a liar.
Wah, wah, wah.
So she has been faking a pregnancy.
Yeah, she's been faking it. But in my defense, when I first got her, my mother was like, oh, she's shedding a lot. That means apparently that's a sign of her having babies. Listen, I didn't know that this was a thing, and I was like, okay, well, let's just.
Has she been to the vet?
No, I haven't taken her to the vet because you know why? What if they tell me that I'm a horrible mother? My bunny is malnourished. And
well, when you rescued it, right, from a flea market where it was in a poor condition.
You rescued it from a flea market.
So that's not your fault.
No, it's not. But I've had her now for 3 months, maybe. And if something is wrong with her, then that is my fault. And I'm a good mother.
But she's good. She's in good health. She's just
faking it.
She is faking her pregnancy.
Biologically doing things that might make it look like she's pregnant, but she's not actually.
No,
apparently. I
mean, she was gathering her hay, and it looked like it for a while. She was very particular about her little spaces. She always had hay in her mouth. Some of the signs that I read online.
Maybe that's just OCD.
Bunny OCD.
BOCD.
Yeah. I don't know, but just in case, watch her have babies and me not even be prepared.
Yeah, we should just change the topic of this podcast to rabbits, I think, and just make a rabbit the podcast is rabbits. Let's do that.
The rabbits are real.
Yeah,
are they?
Somebody, but the pregnancy is not.
But the
pregnancy is not. But the podcast is real. That's our new slogan. There we go. All right. Utah, last we talked, you had a new kitty. Is the kitty settling in nicely over there?
Oh, yes. Our corn kitty Orpheus is doing great. In fact, I just took him to the vet for his first appointment today. And so he got a couple of vaccinations.
Not pregnant.
Clean. Not pregnant. Not even faking it.
Making me feel like a bad mom for not taking my bunny to the vet.
But he has a clean bill of health. So everything's good. He's now has free roam of the house. At first, we had limited him to one room because that's what you're supposed to do when you introduce new cats to other cats. But now he's got free reign of the house, and he's a little bundle of energy and likes to attack feet. So,
all right.
The kids seem to like it.
That's great. Well, we got a fun show today. We're going to get deep down and dirty with a recap of the gritty and grimy season 2 of The Boys. But before that, we've got to check in on what's happening in pop culture news. That's right.
This Week in Geek.
Yep, it's that time on the show when we pour through the pulp and pick out the prime pop culture points of interest and share them with you.
Number 1.
So recently, those of you who were doing DC Universe, who had subscribed to that when it first came out, I did take the free trial and I took advantage of that and watched some things, read a few comics, things like that. Well, it turns out that service is not long for this world. Apparently, they have officially decided to end it. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, right? I mean, they announced Swamp Thing, released it, and literally the day they released it, announced that they canceled it, which was amazing to me. But I had it at the time, and I watched Swamp Thing, enjoyed the show. I watched Titans. I watched some of the others that were on there at the time. And yeah, it was just okay, right? I mean, some of the shows were fun. I did like Swamp Thing, but it was just kind of like, who wants this? Like, I am not enough of a DC fan, so I'm not saying nobody wants it, because I know there are people. I'm admittedly a Marvel fan. Like, I'm hands down. Everybody knows this. So there may be DC fans who are absolutely in love with this product. But I think deep down, everybody kind of knew that this was a bad idea and that DC needed to team up with somebody. Well, now it's official. HBO Max is the new home of the DC Universe shows. They're moving Titans. They are moving Stargirl. They're going to be moving all of those shows. Swamp Thing, they actually moved to CW, and it's doing great there. People are loving it. So I don't know if this is going to bring Swamp Thing new life, if it's going to get a season 2 now that they realized
they canceled it.
Well, I think they canceled it because they knew that DC Universe was not long for this world. I think that was what was happening. I think they thought, you know what, this isn't going to last. So we need to just let people know this may be the last time you can watch this. Watch it now. And then they put it on CW. It's doing great. People want to see it now. So maybe there will be a season 2 coming to CW. That would be fantastic. And then, maybe it can cross over with all the other shows like they've been doing on there. It can be part of the CW verse. Who knows? It could be fun. But HBO Max has announced the actual days. So it looks like starting on December 1st, Titans, Young Justice, November 1st, Titans, Young Justice, Outsiders are going to be coming to HBO Max. Now, those are the original runs of those. So we've got 2 seasons of Titans. Can't remember how many Young Justice seasons there were, but those will be on HBO Max on November 1st. Stargirl will be there on December 1st. So then you will, any new episodes of those shows, which are approved. So Titans is getting a season 3 for sure. That is happening. But with COVID testing and all this stuff going on, who knows when those will actually begin production. But HBO Max will be there at home. What do you guys think? I
think it's smart. I think you're right. I mean, I felt like the writing was already on the wall with DC Universe being a video demand service, that it wasn't going to last. I just felt like they didn't have the content to start off. So I'm glad to see that some of these shows, which are actually pretty good, have a home that's very stable and that's going to be around. I don't think HBO Max is going anywhere. And really, I'll be honest, I'm most excited about the fact that Swamp Thing has found a broader fan base and is succeeding on the CW. And like you said, I hope that dovetails into, hey, you know what? This was actually a really good show. We should probably do more than just 1 season and perhaps not cancel it before it actually shows the first episode. Because it's a great show. That was actually, I think, the only reason I even tried a free trial of DC Universe. And the others were just kind of like icing on the cake. So, and DC Universe is now what? It's just like Marvel Unlimited, where it's just digital comics.
Yes. So they've lowered the price and it's all comics. And what's funny is they're calling it, now it's called DC Universe Infinite.
Oh,
so
come on.
So they took something away, but now it's infinite.
Right. Well,
so there's less, but it's more.
Of it. Right. And they couldn't call it unlimited because then that would just be too close to what Marvel did.
Well, it's clear that's what they're doing. It's so obvious that it's basically Marvel Unlimited. But then the difference is Marvel didn't start with like all this other stuff. It was always comics, right? They started with more, and now they're giving us less and calling that infinite, so I can make fun of DC. Sorry, I'm sorry. It was a weird way to go about it. I was never a fan from the start. But HBO Max is not going anywhere, and we're going to talk about streaming services on our next show. So tune in next time, because we're going to be all the streaming services going head to head in a smackdown. right here.
Oh, it's going to be awful.
Be here. Be here for that.
Number 2.
Showtime has been out for blood, looking for another hit show, and it's been murder trying to come up with something. And so they finally figured it out and saw the forest through the trees.
Oh, geez. Sorry, go ahead.
And have announced that they're bringing back our favorite blood spatter expert, both at investigating and creating the blood splatter, Dexter. He's back for a 10-episode miniseries. Both Michael C. Hall and the original showrunner Clyde Phillips are back in they're reprising their roles. And this picks up after the finale. So that means we get to find out what Dexter the Lumberjack has been doing all this time. Production starts early next year. They want to have a fall 2021 premiere. Of course, things are all up in the air and very fluid now with the pandemic, so we'll see. But I, for one, am excited because I was sorely disappointed with the finale, and I didn't feel that Dexter becoming a lumberjack was a fitting end. But this could fix that all. So is this something people are interested in? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, Leah, you said you didn't watch Dexter, right? We just spoiled kind of the last episode for you.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
But that's fine. I mean,
or did I?
You've had enough time to watch. See, this is why we're about to spoil.
The statute.
Yeah, there's some sort of statute, right? I mean, it's been out for long enough that if you wanted to see it, you should have watched it by now.
Why? I'm weird because sometimes I feel like I'm jumping on a bandwagon and I can't tell if it's like a bandwagon that I should jump on or if it's something that I should just.
And what's worse is sometimes these bandwagons are for shows and you're like, oh, everybody's loving this, and you jump on it and then it gets canceled, and then then there's nothing, and you're like, I just invested my time in a show that went nowhere. How many times does that happen?
Yeah, but then when you invest your time into a show like that, you take on this whole character persona, and or you start to love this character that you have developed a completely not non-realistic relationship with.
Sure.
I admit I did look into blood spatter forensic courses after I started watching the show.
You see?
Yeah. It was, you know what? And it's one of those shows that it started getting worse as it went on. Like towards the last couple seasons,
yes,
fans had a lot of stuff they weren't really happy about. I didn't hate the ending. I mean, I know everybody's like, he should have gotten caught, or he should have died, or he should have, like, there's just, they wanted some sort of big dramatic thing. And instead he just kind of disappears into the woods and but again, it left it open for them to do this.
I was going to say,
and
yeah,
but for me, I for one loved the show. I actually read the books before the show came out, and not all of them, because some of them came out after the show came out. And it's one of those situations where, I'm one of those people that's like, if you're going to adapt something, either make it better or make it accurate. So either give me an accurate portrayal of what I read, or take what I read and make it better. But if you're just going to kind of throw everything out the window and do your own thing, that just drives me crazy, right? So Dexter was definitely one of those situations where they actually made it better. Like, the show is infinitely better than the books. Now, this isn't a knock necessarily on the books. The books are still interesting, but the show found ways to connect characters that the book just didn't capitalize on, and stretched those development out over several seasons. And that was great, what I loved about it. So yeah, do I want to see more? I would definitely watch more seasons of Dexter if they came out. And yeah, it does give them a chance to make up for an ending that people were disappointed in.
Would you recommend
it's true.
it? Would you recommend it?
Yeah.
I haven't, so would you recommend it?
Yeah. It's a good show.
At the very least, I feel like the first few
It's
seasons
dark.
were better. Yeah, it is dark.
But I mean, we're talking about The Boys tonight.
Right. So
and you just finished that season 2. So
if you enjoyed The Boys, then I think Dexter will be okay.
I'm kidding. It's still dark. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not that dark. It's a different kind of dark. Like, but yeah, I thought it was fascinating. It's just the character study of that show managed to pull off over, and again, like I said, the first 3 or 4 seasons, and then it starts to it's not as good, but yeah, it was fascinating.
Yeah, I think the last good season, in my opinion, was the one with John Lithgow.
Yeah, that one was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That was when it started to kind of go off the rails a little bit, I think.
Yep.
Number 3.
All right, we have talked about this on almost every show, but I can't help it. I mean, it's at the top of mind kind of right now, and it's top of the news in pop culture. So many of us are stuck at home right now, and this show is about pop culture, and one of the most prolific things that Utah in particular and I know and talk about are movies. Like, we go to the movies, I watch movies, I see movies all the time. I love the whole theater experience. And since May, whenever we stopped being able, I can't even remember the last time I saw. What was the last movie that you saw in the theater?
Oh,
Can you remember?
gosh.
Well, I know Aaliyah just went when they opened back up, but
Oh, that's right.
Before that,
last thing you
before
saw
that.
was New Mutants, right?
yeah,
I'm trying to think. What
I
was
can't
the last
even
thing
remember.
I saw? I'm not.
Was
I
it
don't
last
even.
year, like Christmas time? Like,
I think the last movie I saw would have been like November, December, and
I'm honestly blanking. I am gonna have to go back and look at releases to see if I saw a movie this year, because I may not have seen a movie in the theater this year because it was only 3 months in when things started going crazy.
yeah.
But the problem is that now that we can't go to the movies, the movie theaters are suffering. Like those we talked about early on when all this was happening, when we first started this podcast, we discussed how the movie theaters were going to be able to operate going forward, where drive-in's going to come back, and they kind of have.
Yeah.
Were we going to be, only, certain amount of people going to be in theaters for this year? But when we had those conversations, and if you go back to like episode 1 and 2 and 3, I mean, I think that's all we talked about for the most part was, when can we get back to the theaters? What will we do? And I think it's so funny to think about, like, we were literally talking at that time like it was going to happen at some point this year. I mean, we really believe, this is going to be a couple of months and then we'll be back in the theaters, but what will it be like? Will we do this? Will they still sell popcorn? No, we're not in the theaters yet. Like some states, so about 48 states have opened up in some sort of way. They've had restrictions on how many people or how much capacity theaters can have, but they've allowed some theaters to open. And then some big cities like New York and LA and some of those, they're still closed. Like there are no theaters open. So it's sporadic around the country right now. But man, Regal has announced that they are going to go out of business. AMC is apparently so cash strapped that they're predicting that they will be zero cash by the end of the year.
Wow.
So AMC may go away forever. That just blows my mind to think about.
I don't even know. I can't even imagine a world without movie theaters. That's just so, because, like you said, Jeff, that's one of the biggest things, one of my greatest, I don't know if it's a hobby, but one of the things I loved doing was that whole movie theater experience, going out, getting the popcorn, getting the drink, sitting in a big room, sharing this experience of this film with, a huge group of people, going to see like preview showings or midnight showings. Well, I'm a little older now, so that it's more like 9 p.m. showings the day before release. I miss all of that. It was a very social thing to do, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I think it's hitting me now. I think the last thing I saw might have been Joker. Joker or Knives Out.
You're right. I did see Joker in the theater. Well, but I saw that when I was in Chicago. So that was November of last year. So
was Knives Out?
What have I seen? Knives Out, I waited for video, so I don't know. But Knives Out came out. Didn't that come out on Christmas?
Yeah, it came out I think it came out November, December. And I definitely saw that in the theater at a preview show. So that Knives Out might have been the last thing I saw.
Yeah. I can't remember seeing a movie this year.
I haven't seen a theater. I just,
I mean, in the theater. Yeah. I've seen, trust me, I've been watching a lot of movies. This pandemic. Pretty much the TV is on like 24/7.
I know that Cinemark and AMC too have the private party things where you can rent out a theater for, what is it?
$99 I saw.
$99.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah. And you can I think you can pick from a small catalog of not new releases, but some of them are fairly recent. But that seems kind of cool, and I think I could do that. But I don't know, just the whole thing of going to the theater seems kind of stressful to me, and without knowing how many other people are at the theater, I really wanted to see Tenet. Tenet was a movie that was probably going to be the closest to drawing me out to the theater again. But again, without knowing how many people were going to be in the theater, it's a long movie and nobody's following the rules, and I don't know. But it's sad. Now with Regal's announcement, I know they said it was temporary, and we all know who knows, because they like I feel like the movie theaters opened up like a month ago.
Yeah,
they reopened
very long.
So like for 4 weeks, and then the business just wasn't happening. So, and Regal is number 2.
Yeah. So what I'm reading right now is that AMC will let you watch recent theatrical releases and older favorites with your own private group of friends starting at $99.
Oh, wow.
So apparently you can see a recent, maybe we could find 10 people we know who have been cleared of COVID.
Right, who have been quarantining
to spend $10 and we'll rent out a theater and watch Tenet.
And we can see Tenet on the big screen.
You bring your family. Yeah. We'll bring our family.
I'm there.
Aaliyah, you're COVID free, right?
Yeah, I'm COVID free.
All right.
Bring Rosie. Bring Rosie.
Yeah,
and her family.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Yeah, it's scary. It would be very sad to see movie theaters go for it. But and Patty Jenkins is convinced that they are released. She's absolutely adamant they're releasing Wonder Woman 80. A bunch of unreputable sites, I want to say, that love to throw out rumors. And we're going to talk about some more when we get to our number 5 here, but I love to throw out rumors and hope that they stick, and then they turn out to be not true. And then it's like, whatever. But a lot of those types of sites have been saying that Wonder Woman 84 is going direct to video. And Patty Jenkins keeps coming out and saying, no, it's not. So she's like, that movie is going to be in the theaters, is meant to be watched in the theaters. She's adamant about saving movie theaters, but I'm with her 100%. I'm like 100% behind her. I would love to see Wonder Woman 84 on the big screen, but to say, just to say it, like we're going to put it out there, doesn't mean people are going to go and spend the money, or that they even can, depending on where they are, because LA and New York, those are big movie going markets. And if they can't even get indoors, they're not going to see these movies. So she's adamant that it won't be an on-demand release. And these sites are saying that it will be. And she's like, no, it's not. Like, it will eventually. But she's like, I'm not, like, it's going to hit theaters first. So that means to me either that she is, and Warner Brothers, if they have said, we are hitting theaters, or we're delaying. We're not releasing to streaming. So either we're getting it around Christmas, or we're waiting till next year. That's what I think is happening with Wonder Woman. But, it's obviously these filmmakers are like, we don't make movies for television. Like, that's not what we do. Like, I didn't spend all this money on all these effects and all these big stars,
hundreds of millions of dollars,
for you to watch it on your screen at home. I want you to see it in a theater. And you know what, Patty, we're with you. We want to see it in the theater.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm willing to wait. Like, I know a lot of people are like, give it I'd rather have it on demand. I'm willing to wait for some of these movies. I really am. And that's hard to say, but let's wait if we have to.
Number 4.
So speaking of movies that are not going to theaters, there's a movie that has been in production, and I didn't even realize it. Like, I knew that there have been rumors and talks that this movie was happening. I'd heard that they had, talked to the principal cast and that they were coming back and doing this movie. And I was like, this is great. I'll go see that whenever it possibly ever gets made. Well, it turns out it's made. It's done. This movie is done and in the can and ready to be released. And
what movie are you talking about?
I am getting to it. It is the sequel, long-awaited sequel, to one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies of all time, The Golden Child. No, I'm kidding. It's the
Goldener Child.
The Golden Child is a much derided Eddie Murphy film that I actually do love, though. I do love that movie, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is Beverly Hills Cop 2, but that's also not 2, but Beverly Hills Cop as well. Beverly Hills Cop is not getting the sequel either. The actual movie we're talking about is coming to America, and it's not coming to America 2. It's coming to number 2, America. That's right, Coming to America, which was just hilarious. I mean, I just adore this movie. I watched it so many times when I was a kid. So funny. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, just absolutely hilarious in this movie. They finally announced this movie was coming, and I was so excited. Turns out it's done, and Paramount can't get into theaters. I wonder why, right? So instead, they were shopping it around at various streaming services. They said, hey, we've got Eddie Murphy's new movie. Now, Eddie Murphy's last movie was produced by Netflix, which was Dolomite Is My Name. And
that's right.
Yeah.
that one ended up streaming, and this was before COVID. So that one ended up streaming on Netflix. And so Paramount's like, hey, we got the next Eddie Murphy movie, and it's a sequel to one of his most popular movies of all time. Who wants it? And so there was some, a lot of bidding going around, a lot of various streaming sources. Well, the deal that they struck was apparently $125 million.
Wow.
To stream this film. And the film is going to be on Amazon Prime streaming on December 18th. That's apparently the release date, rumored right now. But apparently that deal is true, but the date might still be a rumor. We don't want to release, allegedly, December 18th. I'm going to say that. But how about that, right? $125 million. Now, how much did it cost to make? I have no idea. But does that, so I'm trying to figure out how this, because this is a new world, right? We're not putting it in a theater. So does that mean Paramount, if they had released it in the theater, would have made $125 million for that movie? And now Amazon needs to try to make money off of it. And obviously they're assuming they're going to, benefit from this. I don't know if it's going to be on Prime. Like if you're a Prime, you can watch it for free, or if they're going to have it, they're going to be the only place you can watch it on demand for one of these $29.99 or $19.99 movie things. I don't know what that deal entails. Like that's not clear, but this is the new way of releasing movies. It's interesting. So Paramount's already made $125 million on this movie before anybody's even seen it.
And it's that, and you know what? That honestly, that's probably more than they would have made if they tried to release it in the theaters. I mean, Tenet didn't break. I don't think it broke 30 or 40 million in its opening weekend. Now globally, because other places in the world, other countries are opening up, globally it's made over 300 million. But here in the States, I don't even think it's broken 100 million. And, kudos to Paramount for thinking, let's take 125 million now.
Yeah.
Well, they'd had to make their money somewhere,
right?
Especially if they weren't gonna, like you guys just said, they spent how much money producing, filming, paying actors. A lot of money goes into creating a movie. How else would they make it, especially in today's economy?
So apparently with this deal includes some marketing tie-ins. So Amazon gets to benefit from that too. So they are selling, like, I don't know if that is a partnership, the Paramount gets some of that as well. Like, I don't know, these deals are going to, it's got to be interesting, but it's all, it's crazy. But one of the marketing tie-ins is with McDonald's, which is amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Which, if you remember the original, he worked at McDowell's, and that was the name of the family and
of the families.
And they have the upside down arches?
It was an upside down. It was very close to an end, but it was upside.
It was basically McDonald's, and he was competing with them, which was that was one of my favorite, funniest things. That John Amos was one of my favorite parts of that movie, and one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he was
just
hilarious.
So funny, and just that whole McDowell's restaurant that he had going on there. But so having a tie-in with McDonald's is going to be interesting.
Oh, that's
and I would
brilliant.
love to see how they market this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Please, I hope that means that some of the voices of those characters will be on Alexa. I would love to have King Jaffe, answering my questions on my Alexa.
So Crown Royal is the other, I guess, marketing tie-in.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
I'm looking at the cast, and I'm glad that a lot of the original cast has come back. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's this? Wesley Snipes?
Wait, Wesley Snipes is in it?
According to this list I'm looking at.
You're right. It does say Wesley Snipes is joining the cast of Coming to America.
Wow.
That would be interesting. The Daywalker arrives.
Right.
All right. So coming
It's
to
the
America, I'm making a 2 with my fingers, people who are at home, is coming hopefully in December to Amazon, which will be quite interesting.
Number 5.
Spider-Man, Multiverse living Spider-Man. 2 reboots, sure, why not? Good ideas, Marvel's got. Hey now, here comes the multiverse. That's right.
A little disappointed that the ukulele wasn't involved in that.
I thought about it. I'll keep singing next time. You gotta hold back a little bit. Give people more next time.
Gotta leave them wanting more. They want more.
That's
we want more ukulele next time, Utah. Go ahead.
All right. Done. Noted. But ever since the news of Jamie Foxx being cast in Spider-Man 3 was released, speculation has run amok with talk of whether he's reprising his role as Electro from that one awful Spidey movie or being someone new. Add to that news that Doctor Strange himself will be making an appearance, and well, guesses of who is next keep coming. Could Andrew Garfield make an appearance? Could Tobey Maguire make an appearance? I mean, Sam Raimi is directing the next Doctor Strange movie, and Jamie Foxx is confirmed, so what could it be? I don't know. I'm excited. I like the fact that they're bringing Doctor Strange in, and since Doctor Strange's movie is about the multiverse, it kind of makes sense that if they're going in that direction in Spider-Man 3, that Doctor Strange would be somehow involved. But I don't like Electro, so I don't know how that's gonna go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, if we're going to be like all the other websites out there, confirmed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in Spider-Man 3.
Reprising their roles.
Let me just say this. That is a bald-faced lie. It is not confirmed. If you see a headline that says Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are confirmed, and there are several. I saw 2 of them in my feed today that said confirmed. Click that link and don't click the link because you don't want to give these people the.
Don't click.
But if you do, see, I clicked the link. I took one for the team. I clicked the link to see what their sources are. Guess what?
None.
There aren't any. That's the point. Yes, somebody says a source from Sony close to the production. That's what they always say when they don't have a source, right? So that is just not the case. Now, that doesn't mean it's not happening. I actually think that it's likely because people have been kind of wanting this, and the studios have been listening to fans on a lot of things, almost to a fault. Rise of Skywalker, and so
that's the last movie I saw in the theater.
You might be right. That might be the last one I saw too. That might be it. But they might be listening to their fans almost to a fault, which could be a bad thing. But I feel like they know that this is what people want. People want to see Tobey Maguire again. People want to see Andrew. Well, some people want to see Andrew Garfield again. But I definitely want to see Tobey Maguire. Like a lot of people. Like as soon as the Spider-Verse movie came out, the one Into the Spider-Verse that Sony dropped, the animated one, which was phenomenal.
It was
fantastic.
It is either tied for first or second of the best
Spider-Man
movies ever. Yeah, Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi one with Doc Ock. That might be the best superhero movie ever. Well, that's a whole nother show.
That's another
talk
show
about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely the best Spider-Man movie, I think. Except Into the Spider-Verse is just really, oh my gosh, it's so almost there. Like I almost want it to be the first.
So good.
But there's so
fantastic.
much good about that second movie too. But anyway, that unlocked people's just like really big desire to see, like, if that was live action and you had Miles Morales, like people wanted to imagine Tobey Maguire being the Peter Parker, right? The older, sort of, in sweats, middle-aged Peter Parker. Toby is that age now. Like, I don't know if he's got dad bod or if he's, in sweats. I haven't seen him around.
Seasoned.
But yeah, he's seasoned. And so I would love to see that. I think that would be so much fun. So I'm saying is, yes, it may be likely that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will appear. It may be likely that it's multiverse, but it is not confirmed. And all these people are just trying to be able to say they said it first. And then if they end up being wrong, they'll pretend like they never talked about it. So just check your sources. Don't share those things. Like there's particular sites in particular just drive me crazy that are on my list. And I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to do it, but I just don't share them. But if you see anybody saying stuff like that, like check their sources, make sure. And the other thing is if one site is saying it and then you go check and then you see other sites saying it, but all their sources are that one site still, then it's still not confirmed. Like, wait, right? Somebody's going to have to say. And if anything, Tom Holland is going to accidentally reveal it. So we'll just wait. Once Tom Holland says it, we know it's real. Because he always blows it. He blows it every time, which I am 100% sure that Marvel is feeding those through him on purpose. I think
brilliant marketing.
Oh no, it's
brilliant marketing.
It's fabulous marketing. But it's funny that you mentioned that because I don't know if anybody saw Jimmy Kimmel's tweet earlier today, or was it earlier this week, but it might have been today, that he is confirmed to be Kraven the Hunter in Spider-Man 3. Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah.
Now, that is garbage. There's no way that's true.
Right, but Kraven the Hunter as Kraven the Hunter as a villain in the movie?
Oh, I think they should totally do it. And I would love to see someone like Jason Momoa or even somebody less big, like, you know what I mean? But people have talked about him. Danny DeVito is Kraven the Hunter. Oh my gosh. You just created some images. I'm going to have to, if there's any fan artists out there who like to do that, what cosplay up people in art, we need to see Danny DeVito as Kraven the Hunter. Someone get on that like right away and upload it, share it at World Gone Geek, send it to us. We want to see that. But yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is probably, I mean, if that turns out to be true, I'll be amazed. But you know what is true is Jimmy Kimmel gets all the great Marvel scoops. Like they drop trailers on his show, they come and drop new things. And so he copied Tom Holland on it. So I have a feeling we're going to get some sort of Spider-Man 3 news from Jimmy Kimmel, and that's his way of trying to get you thinking about it. So let's keep an eye on that. Maybe we're going to get a trailer or not, well, not a trailer, but you know what I mean? Like some sort of something that's going to reveal that. But I mean, Jimmy Kimmel's got to be thanking his lucky stars that he's on ABC, which is owned by
all
Disney,
part of the same company,
he gets all the Disney stuff. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be Kraven, but I think he is going to have some big news here. So keep an eye on Jimmy Kimmel. He's going to have something to say. Okay. The other thing that you mentioned about Jamie Foxx, I love Jamie Foxx as a person. I think he's a great actor, and I think he seems like a really cool guy who was cast in an unfortunate role in an unfortunate movie. Because Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not good. The way they portrayed Electro, again, not his fault. It was just a poorly conceived character. And he said he's not blue, but in this new one. But then someone said he's reprising the same character. So
and then
it's not a multiverse Electro, and that may just be misleading. So I think it's a multiverse Electro, and he's just not playing the stupid one he did. Yeah. Because didn't Electro die at the end of that movie? I honestly don't remember. I honestly do not remember. I've blocked out most of that movie. I was so disappointed in that film.
I did not see it.
You're not missing anything. Yeah. And it would be, I feel like it would be really confusing if they cast Jamie Foxx in another Spider-Man movie and put him in a different role than what he had before. Except, and this is where, I mean, again, this could be a whole nother episode, so I'll try to make this brief. We have a lot of other episodes. The whole multiverse thing drives me kind of crazy, and DC Universe is the one that does it the worst. And now I think like Marvel is about to follow the same suit, but people want this. And to be honest, I would watch it. But it still bothers me from a logical perspective. And let me try Michael Keaton. Let me try to be brief. Here's what I'm trying to say. If Peter Parker exists in multiple dimensions, then he should be the same person in multiple dimensions.
Like it doesn't make sense that Peter Parker is Tom Holland in one dimension, Tobey Maguire in another, and Andrew, like that they look so differently. Like their DNA is completely, to me, they'll be different. Like if Miles Morales is in multiple universes, like now different people can be Spider-Man, but not different people can be Peter Parker. Does that make sense? Like that's hard for my brain to wrap around.
That makes perfect sense.
Like when they put Barry Allen Flash from the Snyderverse in with Barry Allen Flash from CWverse in that one little short that they did.
Yeah.
Now that short was pretty funny and pretty cool, but I'm like, why do they look so different? Like it's just universe. Like to me, it's like you split off because of decisions, and maybe the universes are different, and so that's why.
That's the problem there.
Or you could end up having a situation where Peter Parker is black because at some point in his past, he's a mixed ethnicity or whatever because his parents, but he's Peter Parker, but he's still a different person. Do you know what I mean? But for him to still be Andrew Garfield and have the same parental lineage, do you know what I mean? Still have the same Aunt May, but that's a different person too. Like why are they different people? I don't understand that kind of multiverse. Like it feels like they should be the same, and it should be other things that change them. Like
that's possible.
Like Tony Stark was poor, so he never became Iron Man, and this other person did because they had the technology and became Iron Man for a different reason. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, anybody can be those characters, just like Miles Morales became Spider-Man, but Miles Morales isn't Peter Parker. He's his own person.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. Like it's just, it makes my head spin. So, but does that mean I don't want to see Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire swinging together in their costumes and fighting bad guys? Oh yeah, I would pay to go see them. I would totally watch that. I would watch the heck out of that movie.
No, they're all standing. They're all
the whole
standing
time I would be like, "What's
other.
happening?"
They're all standing on a pier, pointing at each other, like, "No, who are you? Who are you?"
You. That would have to happen. They would have to like.
That has to be like a post-credit scene or something.
Somehow, like
absolutely.
Why don't you go? No, you go. No, I don't. Where'd you get that suit? How'd you do that? I don't know. Some conversation where they're pointing at each other. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, that would be too good. Oh, but yeah, that's my dissertation on multiverse. Somebody explain it. I'm not saying it can't be that way. I just don't understand how that works. Like it's if you split timelines or whatever, everybody's still the same person. Now things will change in their lives, and other DNA might enter their lives if different people get married back, you know what I mean, at different times. And maybe it's Patricia Parker because they had a girl instead of a boy because different things happen. Do you know what I'm saying? But then Patricia Parker is not Peter Parker.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think part of it is the fact that I think that there is a pillar of thought where parallel universes aren't necessarily anchored to the splitting timeline thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying makes sense. Like if Peter Parker will be Peter Parker if the timeline splits because it's the same Peter Parker. And so you've got different timelines, but some people don't consider them different universes, just different timelines in the same universe.
Okay.
And so with a parallel universe, or I guess, we'll call it the multiverse because that's popular. They're not bound by those rules of Peter Parker is always the same exact Peter Parker in each parallel universe.
Well, that's convenient.
Well, yes.
That's what I'm saying. To me, it just seems convenient so that we can just do whatever we want. I want the science. Like, how does the science work? Because not that it has to, because why lightsabers and why force and, I get it. This is fantasy. But at the same time, I like it when there's some sort of explanation.
Sure.
And there may be, and someone out there has it, and I'd love for you to share it with the show, and we'll talk about it. You can come on the show. I'm still booking people but we're booking all the way out to January. So,
yeah,
and maybe with COVID, you can come on live. But yeah, I would love. We'll have a whole multiverse show. You guys can explain it to me. We can argue till we're blue in the face. And
we actually that other show is happening in another universe. So.
It probably is. And I'm a girl in that universe. And so
I'm a ukulele.
And I'm Rosie.
That you're the rabbit. You know what? I'm totally going to get my daughter to draw that. Me as a girl, you as a ukulele, and you as a rabbit, and that's our parallel universe.
That's our parallel universe
podcast version of us. All right. Well, that wraps up our top 5 interesting things we learned in pop culture news this week. Of course, there was a lot more, and you can always see what else we found this week on what people are talking about on our Facebook page at facebook.com/worldgonegeek. Join us there and join the discussion. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, both at World Gone Geek. Be sociable, join us on social media, and become part of the World Gone Geek. It's a show that's so disgustingly violent and graphic and full of profanity that I can't in good conscience actually recommend it to anyone. But it's also one of the most compelling and well-written shows available to binge right now. It's called The Boys, and it's just wrapped up its 2nd season, and we're going to get into it big time. So spoiler alert, I'm saying it right now, and spoiler alert, if you're not caught up, it's time to pause the show and come back later, because we're about to talk about everything that happened in season 2. Otherwise, so if you're caught up and you're ready to go, don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Hey, everybody. We hope you're enjoying The Podcast is Real, which is the official podcast here at World Gone Geek. We hope you enjoy the website, worldgonegeek.com, which is a parody and satire site of pop culture news. We really enjoy doing it, so we hope that you enjoy reading it and listening to the podcast. But many of you have asked, how can you help? What can you do to support the podcast? Well, most importantly, spread the word. Let people know what's going on. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, share the tweets, share the posts, share the grams, whatever. All of those things go a long way in letting people know that we're here. People jump on these things and listen to podcasts mostly via word of mouth. So tell people what we're doing. We'd love that. Another way you can support us is by, in your favorite podcast app, find a way to give us a review. Give us 5 stars, tell people that you like what we're talking about, whatever. But if you were to vote, especially on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, if you were just to click those favorite buttons or those stars, that would be huge. It helps us rise up the list. It helps us be noticed by more people, and therefore more people will start to listen. And finally, if you'd like to get involved in a really concrete way, we do have a Patreon account, patreon.com/worldgonegeek. We have several tiers there where you can actually support the podcast financially, even as low as $2 a month. Did you know that if we ended up with 10 patrons at just $2 a month, that would help pay for one of the hosting costs for one of the things that we're doing here? So we would love it if you'd be able to do that. We totally understand if you can't. There's plenty of other ways to help, as I said before. But I do want to let you guys know about the Patreon account, because right now this would be a sponsor break, and we don't have any sponsors yet because we just got started. We're just getting rolling. Once we have a lot more listeners and a lot more of a following, we could maybe look into that. But in the meantime, we'd love to have your support in all the ways that I just described. If there's any of those things that you feel in your heart that you'd like to do to be a part of the show, we'd appreciate it. Most importantly, though, I am so glad that you are listening. Thank you. Thank you for downloading this podcast and listening, because that means the world to me. We're not just talking out into the air, that there are people on the other end actually appreciating what we do. Thanks so much for being there. Let's get back to the show. All right, we are back. And again, spoiler alert, if you have not seen season 2 of The Boys yet, or season 1 for that.
Or season 1.
Yeah, if you haven't seen any of The Boys, this is the time to pause and go away, because we are going to spoil stuff. We're going to talk about it. So leave now. Pause now.
Okay, bye.
All right. The Boys is a gritty, satirical take on the superhero mythos that just finished its sophomore season on Amazon Prime. Based on a comic book from Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, the show examines a world where superheroes are real, and the old saying, "Never meet your heroes," has never been more dizzyingly illustrated as absolutely dead-on good advice. The heroes in The Boys are lifted to celebrity statuses, and the idea of great power brings great responsibility is flipped on its head. With great power comes absolute corruption and depravity. The corporation behind the heroes gives them publicists and social media and creates images, while behind the scenes, they're the most dangerous and despicable people of all. And this is where the titular boys, though they're not all boys, come in. They're a group of vigilantes loosely backed by the CIA, who have got an axe to grind with the heroes of the world and know the truth behind the lie that the rest of the world is being force-fed. And they won't stop until the truth is exposed and the true evil is destroyed. Stars Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, Aaron Moriarty, and Anthony Starr as probably one of the most like love to hate people in TV history. I mean, you've seen shows where there's characters in movies where you just love to you love them, but you love to hate them. Like they're played so well, but you can't say wow, he's so good. No, he's terrible. He's absolutely awful, but he's so good at playing this awful person. Anthony Starr is doing fantastic as the love to hate him Homelander, leader of the Seven, which is the hero Avengers of this world. The Boys is a roller coaster of destruction, blood, guts, and F-bombs, cleverly disguising a brilliant satire about toxic celebrity worship culture, politics, and just everything.
You name it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with a brief recap of season 1. Let's just try to remember what happened in season 1. And this is where I told you to. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Season 1.
What happened in season 1?
It's pretty simple.
We're
season
going through
1.
it quick.
Okay, here we go. Huey's girlfriend gets killed by one of the Seven and puts him on a track to that crosses his path with Billy Butcher. I guess he's the leader of the Boys,
Sure.
right? Mm-hmm. And he was played by Carl Urban, and he finds himself in this kind of weird journey and adventure of who the heroes really are and what type of people they really are beyond the image that they show. And lots of things happen. Lots of people die in really gruesome and strange and unusual ways. And at the end of it all, we find out that Soups are not born that way. They are get their powers from a compound called Compound V, which I guess Vought had been injecting into various children. With their parents' permission, I believe, because the parents were given some sort of stipend or something. Yes. And so we end the season. How do we end the season?
So
Stormfront was introduced at the end of last season, or no? I don't remember.
I think so, but we barely get to know her.
No,
the end
she
of
came in the second season.
The end of season 1 is when Billy Butcher realizes that his wife Becca is alive and has a son. That's right.
And the son is not his.
And the son isn't his, but is Homelander's.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you say that Soups aren't born, well, this kid
this
might
is
be
the first
one.
This is, as far as we know, the first natural born superhero.
Because Homelander raped his wife. And
yeah. Homelander's.
This is why Billy Butcher is out to get all that. So each of the boys has their own reason for wanting to take down these heroes.
Yep. And
that obviously is Billy Butcher's. Huey's is because A-Train, who's the speedster, like the Flash. And this is what's so great about this show is it really kind of examines what if these superheroes were real, like the Flash and Quicksilver in these comic books. They run so fast, so blazingly fast everywhere they go. What happens if a person accidentally steps in front of them while they're running? Now we see them, they slow down time and they're able to just slowly like do all this stuff and, all these things. And that's all happening because they're so fast. And I guess that's, for some reason, that I've never really bought that. So this, like, although I love those scenes, they're so fun, right?
Yeah.
But A-Train accidentally runs right through her and just
in the first 10 minutes of the first episode of the first season.
Yeah. Every episode of this show has a scene that is so outrageously gruesome and shocking that there's at least one, right? In every episode.
Like how Translucent died. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
How do you kill an invisible man that has, impervious skin? Well, you stick a bomb up his butt and then you blow it
Basically, they did the Ant-Man Thanos.
They did the Ant-Man Thanos thing. Yes.
Yep. They basically sort of recreated what that would have been. Yeah. It was gruesome. Yeah. This is why it's so hard for me to recommend this show to people. Like, people are like, so is it good? I'm like, yeah, it's great. So should I watch it? No, like, don't watch this. Like, it's so hard to recommend because it is extremely violent. But it's also so brilliantly written and like just such an interesting commentary about what's going on in the world today. You know what I mean? Told in such a unique way.
Yep.
That I don't know. I'm so torn on this, and I wanted to do this episode because I do like the show, but it's just, you know, I am very torn about this show. I haven't really recommended it to anybody because it's like I'm gonna watch it for you and tell you it's awesome, and then you don't have to be exposed to what I was exposed to. Yeah.
No, it's true. Yeah, I've recommended it to fellow nerds and geeks in my various circles because I know that they could handle the visuals and whatever else is going on. But like to my kids, they've heard of the show, they know of the show, they've heard me talk about how awesome it is. They've seen and heard other people talk about how awesome it is. But I've told them it's an eyeful sometimes, and an earful for that matter. So it's definitely not for everybody, but the quality of the writing, the quality of the acting, it's really it's a darn good show.
So Leah, when you first started watching it, you were really excited to let us know that you were on this show now, and we wanted to do an episode about it. So tell us, let's staying in the first season for right now. Tell us what it was about that first season that hooked you. Like, what is it that made you think like this is a really good show and we gotta talk about this?
Well, I was already familiar with the boys because at my previous job, there was a girl that dressed up as Huey and his girlfriend with the arms. All she had was the
brilliant.
arms.
Oh my gosh.
As like the costume for our work party. And I had no idea what she was referencing, but she showed us the very first, that like little intro clip on YouTube. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant, but also very frightening at the same time. And that was again something that I was like, okay, should I jump on this bandwagon or should I not jump on the bandwagon? And then once I kept hearing you guys talk about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it. So from the very, like, I don't even think I really had time to decide if I wasn't going to watch it anymore because I was immediately hooked. I couldn't stop from the very first 10 minutes of the episode that I was just, that was it. It was over. I was just, I was about to binge it and I knew it. So, that entire first season was a roller coaster of excitement and a whirlwind of different emotions. Yeah. I don't know how else to explain it. It was phenomenal. And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you guys. Yeah. I think that,
I mean, the first season addressed so many, made so many commentary in the first season. Let's look at that. I mean, it addressed the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
It addressed.
Yes, it did.
Like big time. It addressed like how celebrities can get away with, and get treated differently. So just to explain to anybody, so some of you may have kept listening past the spoiler alerts because you're like, you preface this by telling me how gross it is. I'm never going to watch it. So let me just hear what it's about. So here we go. Like, in the very first season, one of the characters, the Deep, who's basically the Aquaman, of the group, he controls, fish and animals and has gills, on his chest and whatever. And he basically sexually assaults the newest member of the group, who's a young girl. Basically we learn more about this world through two characters. Huey, who you mentioned earlier, his girlfriend is killed and he becomes a member of the boys, and Starlight, who is a young girl with powers, who is brought in to the Seven. So she is seeing it from the superhero's perspective. Huey is seeing it from the, human kind of like, civilian perspective. And then the two of them meet, and that's kind of how the whole show kind of comes around them. But she is inappropriately propositioned by the Deep. He gets in trouble for it. They decide sort of like the corporations and the Catholic Church and others have kind of rallied around abusers. And instead of like punishing them or sending them to jail or doing, prosecuting them for the things that they've done wrong, they ship him off to Sandusky. So, and that's the Ohio connection, which it is run by Eric Kripke, who is an Ohio boy and is the guy behind Supernatural on the CW, which is just wrapping up, by the way. But that's why there's a Sandusky reference. That's Eric, remembering in Ohio. But yeah, there's a big lake here, so the Deep gets to be a superhero in Sandusky. So it's basically like getting knocked down to the minors, right? In sports or something like that.
Yep.
Aaliyah, you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, because I feel like you made very good points, but there is one thing that I really wanted to say, especially in reference to that specific scene. When the Deep made a very inappropriate pass at Starlight, not only was he trying to, I guess you could say, blackmail her, but he wasn't taking the responsibility, which is one of the biggest things about, or I guess you could say most prominent aspects of the Me Too movement. And, it was more so the Deep, trying to blackmail Starlight, and that, and phrasing it as in, it was her fault.
Yeah.
And I think that is very important to address, especially because, like we said, the Boys does reference a lot of realism that does happen within our own society. And then Starlight kind of comes back and, does what she does and makes it a point to set boundaries. And, as a woman, I appreciate that. And even though the Deep wasn't very happy, he did get what he deserved.
Yeah. Well,
by
he should have
moved to Sandusky.
Yeah. Yeah. He got kicked out of the 7 and yeah, poor Ohio though. That's like
Sandusky's
that's
not
the
that
punishment.
bad.
Send them to Sandusky.
What is in Sandusky?
Yeah.
Cedar
Point.
I know, but he was like, Cedar
Yeah.
Point. Why do I want to go there?
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah. But I mean, you're right, Aaliyah. I mean, I thought that was a really kind of brilliant way to show how that's sort of ignored or accepted and barely even punished in the world of celebrity and in the world of the corporate world, right? We see these types of things happening all the time. The show just brings those to light. It's pretty cool.
I also like at how blatant they are. They just kind of don't care. It's like, we're just gonna do this and run with it, and if anybody has any opinions, well, we know what opinions are. So, I don't know. I appreciate that. I appreciate that brutal honesty sometimes that the world needs.
Yeah. Yeah. It holds up a pretty brutal mirror to society, I think sometimes. Yeah.
And then they paint Homelander in the beginning. They paint Homelander in this beautiful light. And I was like, oh, okay, we have a normal one. And then come to find out, it was
he's the worst of them all.
He is the worst one.
Yeah. Well, and
until Stormfront.
Well, yeah, she might be even worse. But
Nazi.
Yeah, it's really kind of, it's amazing. But yeah, so the Deep gets sent to Sandusky. What else happens the first season? So they're trying to find out the truth. They kill Translucent, who's one of the 7, who as we described, they Thanos'd him, or they Ant-Man Thanos'd him. Thanos'd him would be like snapping and he disappeared. That is not what happened.
That's not.
If you've ever read the Ant-Man theory on how to destroy Thanos, that is essentially what they tried, and it worked. Let's just say he's gone. And it was that was the big shocking disgusting part of that episode. But finally at the end, they do discover and that soups are made, not born. They do discover that there's a compound V. Starlight realizes that everything is not what it is supposed to be. She sort of falls in love with Huey, and at the end, Elizabeth Shue, who I thought was going to be a major part of the show, she is the head of Vought. She's the CEO.
Yeah.
And Homelander finds out he's been lying to her, or she's been lying to him, and so he just suddenly
decides to
laser eyes her eyes into oblivion.
Yeah.
I was so shocked when that happened. Like, I was like, what? This is how the season ends? Like, she's just dead? She's not dead. She's dead? She's dead. She's totally dead.
Well, and it's interesting too, because, Billy Butcher was there with bombs. He was ready to, he was right there playing chicken with Homelander, because he was threatening to blow everybody up if he didn't get the truth about his wife or whomever, right? And so Homelander took care of that for him, and then was able to frame Billy Butcher for it.
Right. And then he brings Billy Butcher
and then
to find Becca.
Just to pour salt in the wound.
And it turns out that's his Butcher's wife is still alive, which he thought Homelander had killed her.
Yeah.
And not only is she alive, but she has Homelander's son. And that was how it ended. So that was a huge revelation, huge, shocking revelation. Big stuff. So season 2, here we are. It starts, we get our first taste of it at San Diego Comic-Con. They showed the whale boat.
The whale.
Which was amazing. So at one point, and we have to talk about it because it's one of the most iconic scenes of that whole season, really, when you think about it. And it's all practical effects, like not all of it. I mean, some of it obviously but they did a lot of practical effects.
Yeah, they had an actual whale, a fake whale on the beach.
Well, they built one.
Boat.
Yeah,
they built one, and they actually had a boat, and it went up the ramp. They had, Ratchet set for a couple of stunt people, so when they jumped off the boat, they would be pulled back. But they had an actual boat go into an actual fake whale
and just obliterate it. And then they flopped around inside it for like 20 minutes afterwards.
Like, I'm just gonna chill out here.
It's like, get out of the whale.
I loved Huey just sitting there going, "No, I'm just gonna stay here."
Yep. Like, I'm done. I'm done. And you know what? I think the great thing about Huey is he is all of us, right? He's the audience. Like, because I think we were all feeling like when that happened, even at home, we're like, yeah, I'm with Huey. Like this is, I don't know that I can take any more of this. This was so much.
Just gonna sit here.
Well, I mean, poor Huey. He was like just working at a little electronics store, or, just doing regular Joe Schmo stuff. And then next thing he knows, he's blowing people up from their bums and killing people. And
well, I mean, they killed his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean,
or fiance, right? I mean,
yeah,
they had just gotten engaged or something.
I mean, I get that, but he had been through a lot.
Yeah, yes.
That was also the episode I found out that Huey was my spirit animal, because he loves Billy Joel as much as I do. I mean, I love Billy Joel. Like, Billy Joel that was the first cassette I ever owned, was An Innocent Man and Michael Jackson's Thriller. Those were the first 2 cassettes. I got a boombox one year for Christmas, and big huge boombox, hold it on my shoulder, just like it did in the 80s, what you do. And my first 2 cassettes was Billy Joel and Michael Jackson. And yeah, Billy Joel is my favorite singer-songwriter. I just absolutely adore like all of his music. And the fact that he uses Billy Joel to like escape from this, I was just like, he's my dude. But then I can't remember, was it him or Starlight that hated the Almond Joy? Was it she liked the Almond Joy?
She liked the Almond Joy. She named 3 things that she really liked, and Hugh was like, how did you choose the 3 worst things?
Yeah, it was Charleston Chew was the other one, right?
Yes.
So
I
Starlight
is
Starlight is kind of my spirit animal too. So I'm like an amalgam of Billy Joel and me, definitely. But I love the Charleston Chew and the Almond Joy. So that's where Hugh and I part ways, I guess. But
No.
you don't like those either?
No, Almond Joys are horrible.
Oh, was it because you don't like coconut? Like, do you like
I don't
the
like
mounds?
listen, there's two
Sometimes
things
you
that
feel
I
like a
really
nut.
don't.
Sometimes you don't.
Yeah, I always feel
I
like a nut.
know, but the thing is that there's two things that I do not like in food. I will probably eat them separately. It just depends.
Okay.
Almonds
Oh,
or any type of nut, doesn't matter,
okay.
and coconut.
Oh,
Wow.
so
I
both,
feel like they
both
just
those nuts.
don't need to be in
So you don't like
food.
almonds and you don't like coconut, and Almond Joy
In
says,
food.
here's both of them, and we're gonna wrap them in chocolate because you like chocolate, don't you?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not an allergic thing though. It's just a
You
taste
just
thing.
don't
No.
like either of those. Okay.
No,
So-
it's
so
definitely a
you're-
taste thing.
So you're not like
I
black
like both
noir.
of those things. So we're gonna have to do. Obviously, we need to do a
Oh,
candy
Black
bar
Noir.
Smackdown episode.
Oh, poor guy. I didn't know that he was African American under that. Under
He's a mystery.
which is
Wrapped in a
very
con-
interesting, right? Black
wrapped
noir,
in a conundrum,
black man.
wrapped in mummy bandages. I know.
Yeah. So we didn't get to that yet. Like what happened to Black
go
Noir?
ahead.
But no, you're right. But yeah, the whale was the big at the opening in the beginning, right? I mean, that was
Wow.
that I think was just like huge, and it was the Deep's chance to like really shine, right? Because
He
the
was
Deep
you
is
could
like,
tell.
because
He
he's
was
like,
I got this.
I got this.
He's
I
like,
can bring a
yeah.
whale, and they just obliterate it, and he's just like, my whale. I feel so bad, and it's funny because and I feel like now. Tell me if you agree, but did they sort of make the Deep a sympathetic character this season? Like they almost make you like root for him to like not be a bad person.
Yeah.
And
they did,
part
yeah.
of that though is because he becomes a Scientologist, basically.
Basically, right. I mean, even the logo of this fake church in the show is so close to the actual Scientology logo. It's it's pretty obvious. Just like everything else in this show. It's pretty obvious who they're satirizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
But,
don't they even say they're going to become aliens when they get?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
name
I
of the
mean,
aliens in this one?
I don't remember, but yeah, it's so obviously a dig at Scientology. But you're right. They set up the Deep on a redemption arc through this church of the collective, and Chase, I forget his last name, but he does such a great job at he was so smarmy and just so awful
Right.
in the first season. and
Completely
then
different this season.
he does such an incredible
broken.
job. Yeah, I mean,
They broke him.
They broke
And
him.
he deserved to be broken. Like that's
Yeah.
that's what you want, right? Is that he should be broken for what he did, and that's the only way he can come back, be redeemed. And then he gets a chance to come back to the 7, and Starlight is like not having it.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's nice that she now has the power. She wields and she knows it. And to see Starlight, both Starlight and Huey, coming from the beginning of season 1 where they were both the sheltered, kind of naive, very optimistic, hopeful characters, and then are both kind of shoved headfirst into the deep end of this horrible, cynical, awful world, is really interesting to see them develop through season 1 and through season 2 even. And to see where they end up at the end of season 2 makes me wonder what's next.
Right.
I mean, wow.
Is it wrong that I kind of feel bad for Homelander?
Well,
Only because like if he wasn't raised to be a monster or to be like a human weapon, he
That's
wouldn't
true.
be like that.
That's true.
Like
They-
and he mentions it in so many different aspects, and I feel like he recognizes it even when he was just talking to his son. I feel like his son is almost like Huey is to Butcher. Like that canary.
Yep. The canary, moral compass.
Yeah. The person that kind of keeps him even or keeps him steady.
The thing that, but you're right about why we sort of feel sorry for him. Like the one thing that I've noticed in season 2 is how well they have developed the characters, even the bad guys, to the point where even as despicable as they made the deep despicable in the first season,
What about
and
A-Train?
sort of redeemed him.
Well, yeah.
A-Train was sort of despicable, but then he, has sort of tried. But then the whole idea, what we're seeing is that they are not one dimensional. They are not. They are not just villains, right? So many movies and shows like, the bad guy is just like, he's just pure evil and you don't know what to do with him, right? And then when he dies, you're like happy and everything's great. That's what's so amazing about what they did with the characters this season is they gave them histories and personalities that made them more complex.
Everybody's got a flaw or a foible or something, even if they're superheroes.
And then we see the truth. Like A-Train looks like he's redeeming himself, but he's only doing it really just for his own gain and benefit.
To get himself back into the center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to wonder if that's really why the Deep is doing it, right?
But Maeve.
It's not the fresco, that's for sure.
Maeve's arc was really good in season 2.
Yeah, that was well done too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I mean, it all kind of happened once old girl left her. I can't remember her name, but
Right.
Elena.
Yes, Elena. When she left her, and that's when she kind of went. It was either a rock bottom. I think she's still kind of at that rock bottom.
She definitely hit rock bottom, and is
She
kind
was
of slowly getting herself back.
Mhm.
What she did at the end to get Homelander, to stop, or to spare Butcher, was a very interesting thing. It's very interesting how it's just like a pyramid of leverage. It's a matter of who has what leverage against somebody else and when to use it,
Mhm.
And it's kind of interesting to see the dynamics of that, especially when as an audience you go, you think, oh, well, Maeve has something on Homelander and A-Train has something on Stormfront and the Deep doesn't have anything on anybody.
Well, what Maeve had on Homelander is damning to herself as well.
It's self-incriminating as well, right?
Yeah. Like I can't
that's
believe
why
that
Elena
she went
left.
along with that. That was so hard to believe even that first time when it, and
When
we're
we
referring
saw
to
it
the
happen.
plane incident,
Yeah.
that was when we first, I think that was when we really realized, okay,
Yeah.
Homelander's not just a jerk.
Yeah.
He's the devil. Like
right. He's not just a jerk.
we
He's the
thought he was just a
sociopath.
pompous ass. No, he's
No, he's
the
a
devil
psychopath.
himself.
But it is also interesting, right? And how the one thing that has caused her so much grief since it started, right? Because I feel like that was really the turning point for Maeve when the plane went down, when she really was like, I don't know if how much more I can handle of this. And then after Elena left, because of the video, which is now something that she is using to incriminate herself as well as Homelander. And she's kind of at that point, like we said, that breaking point where it's like, you know what, if I go down, I go down, but you're going down with me. And I'm really tired of you trying to control everyone, because it's almost like he's like boo-hooing sometimes, like living in his own little pity party because he doesn't get what he wants.
Right. Well, he's very much about the adulation, right? He wants to be loved by everybody.
Because he was loved by no one, unfortunately.
And well, that certainly affects him. And I think you're right about Maeve. She had this video found in order to protect her relationship with Elena from Homelander, only to have that thing that she got to protect that relationship end that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so she ended up using it against Homelander anyway to protect somebody else. So
I think that's a really beautiful moment. But how about how the season finale started? I was not expecting it to start that way, with the shooting, the Indian man.
Yeah, well, but that goes back to what we've been talking about how brilliant satire works, and
mirror.
and how it's
Cape
a mirror.
Guy?
Yeah.
Cape Guy. I'm thinking about Black Lightning. I'm getting
no,
my
you're
shoes.
thinking about
I'm getting my shows messed up. You said Shot, and then I just saw the Cape Guy episode of Black Lightning.
My
we're hero shows mixed up. My hero shows that are reflecting the real world with superheroes.
But no, you're right. It was definitely a very interesting start to it, because it definitely showed very, very obviously how all of this media and all of these memes and every social media, whatever else, can affect people whose minds are very vulnerable to this type of, and I don't want to call it brainwashing, but I mean, it's sort of like that. So you've got this guy living in the basement with his mom, and he's probably got very few friends. He's very socially isolated and socially awkward. And he's just so vulnerable to all this social media that's just bombarding him with all this paranoia about supervillains, which, of course, a messaging that's controlled by Vought and storefronts at the head of that. And then he goes along about his usual day, sees something that's suspicious, and then starts to act upon that suspicion, and the paranoia drives that to the point where he shoots an innocent person in the head, thinking that he's a possible supervillain. And of course, we take a look and see that he's not. He's bleeding out on the floor. And I think, like you said, Jeff, that just kind of holds a mirror to society today, perhaps a little amplified, but it's definitely an obvious statement to the state of affairs now in the world that we're currently in. Powerful stuff. Yeah. Really well acted too.
So let's talk about Black Noir, because we said we were gonna do that. So he's been tasked with killing the boys.
What are his powers too? He's like
right. I don't
super
know.
Healing, invulnerable. He doesn't say anything.
No.
But then his one weakness is
a nut allergy.
Yeah.
A tree nut allergy.
So funny.
And Maeve knew that.
Yeah, which makes me think, what else does she know?
Right? So it makes you think that Maeve might have leverage against every member of the Seven, just in case.
Now, have you read the comics, Utah?
I haven't, no, but I want to.
Because I believe that's a different reveal of who Black Noir is than what's in the comics.
You know what? I think you're right. I think they had mentioned, I read somewhere that I think it was Carl Urban and somebody else were laughing at the fact that Black Noir seems to be the most powerful soup. And how funny would it be if like his one weakness is a nut allergy?
Yeah.
And Kripke said, "That's awesome."
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's a completely different person in the comic books.
Yeah. And I do remember seeing that.
I don't want to spoil that for anybody too. Plus, I haven't actually read all of them. So, and that was that's remember how we were talking about Dexter earlier?
Talking about that.
And I was like, something, it better be better than, or
exactly the same.
Yeah. And I hated the comic, to be honest with you. Like I quit on the comic very early.
Oh.
Like if we talk about how like crude and disgusting this show can be sometimes with its violence. The comic is worse. Like it's not even close. Like it tries to be so offensive that I was literally offended by it. And I said, nope, I'm done. And that's why when the show came out, I'm like, again, this premise is great, but I don't like the way it's executed in the comics. So let me see what this show does. And the show is much better than the comic. It's also so different from the comic that I think you could, what I mean? You wouldn't spoil a lot of either by reading or watching.
Right. No, I mean, they gender swapped Stormfront, but kept the same story, because Stormfront in the comics is a man from the Third Reich, and they kept that same story but made Stormfront a woman in the show, and I think it still worked out really well. That was a powerful story too. It's interesting, how I felt when I realized that Stormfront was basically a white supremacist and successfully kind of bringing white supremacy back to modern times.
Crazy.
And so easily.
White genocide?
Yeah, right. And then her twisting of it all when she was talking to Ryan about how, really just brilliant writing.
Yeah. And so how about that ending, right? There was a big reveal at the
mind
end.
Blowing. I keep on saying it's mind blowing.
Mind blowing ending. Literally. Well, I mean, let's go back real quick. There was the Senate hearing or whatever where people's heads just started exploding, and nobody knew who was doing it or why or whatever.
And what the heck? There's soups in there. What's Homelander and Stormfront just standing there looking around?
Yeah.
Why aren't they?
That's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy about this show. Let me just do that real quick.
Why aren't they doing something?
Like, how does nobody have a problem with the fact that they're standing around and just going, huh?
Well, Ashley did have a line, or I think it was Ashley that
do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She yelled at them to do something.
But I mean, how does that not get out to the public? Like that's
right.
This kind of that should have been like this probably took place on C-SPAN, right?
It
nobody
did.
watches C-SPAN. But
it did go on C-SPAN, and it was funny.
It gets recorded. It gets on YouTube. Like somebody has to see that. It's the same way that when Maeve uses the video to sort of kind of blackmail Homelander, and then it's like, well, why doesn't she just release it if she's willing to take one for the team,
right?
Then just do it already. But then we see the one episode, one of the most shocking things that occurred, and it turned out to just be in his imagination, was when Homelander
was at that rally?
Was at the rally, and everybody turned against him, and he just demolished everyone. So that I keep going back to that scene as the reason Maeve won't just do it. Right?
Because she's not sure how he'll react.
Yeah, if she does just do it to expose him, then he might just go nuts and kill everybody.
Right.
Whereas if she doesn't, then maybe she can use this as leverage to hold him back. You know what I mean? To tone him down, because he will do heroic things when it suits him.
Yes.
So if she has control, I think that's the way she looks at it. Go ahead.
A glass of milk.
But see, the one thing that I think is very interesting that is very true. The one thing that I think Homelander wants more than anything is, as we know, love, right? And she used that. And I don't even think that it's more so the video that he cares about. But I think it's more so the fact that he doesn't, because she used the comment, I will share this video and no one will love you.
Yeah, she did that
and
on
I
purpose.
think that is the one thing that is leveraged more than the video. He's probably like, I don't care about the video, go ahead and link it. But my fans,
yeah, absolutely,
the only people that I know that genuinely love me will not be here anymore. And then who else does he have? It's just him.
And a glass of milk.
Well,
and the glass of milk.
And the kid.
And the kid.
But he doesn't necessarily have the
this is true.
Right.
The kid, you know?
Well, the kid doesn't love him.
Right. The kid does not love him. I mean,
yep.
He's afraid of him. And he'd rather go with Butcher.
Yeah.
Yes, well, and Butcher gave that kid some good advice. So just don't be a
C word.
Yeah.
He likes that word a lot.
He does like that word.
Vic.
I gotta say, one of my favorite moments in the finale was Stormfront's there, and she's like, it looks like she's beating up Starlight and Kimiko, right? And it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then you hear, hey, crowd, and then Maeve comes in and gives her a haymaker, and then they start just beating up on her.
Yeah, and then the guys are just like, what in the name is going on? But
girls get it done.
Girls do get it done.
But Kimiko just laughing. She's like,
yeah.
I appreciated that. She's
one
had a
of
little
my
redemption
favorite
moment.
characters. Yeah.
And she doesn't say anything. I'm like, this girl's getting paid so much money to just.
Yeah.
You know, I respect it.
She's a great character, though. So yeah, the big reveal after the Senate hearings with all the exploding heads, we get one more exploding head at the end, and it's the leader of the Scientology group, right?
Yep.
In the church.
I don't even think he got to finish his fresca.
No, and we realize who is doing the exploding finally, because that was never revealed, right? And you know what? I just realized we didn't even talked about Lamplighter this whole time, and I do want to.
Oh my! Oh shoot! That was one of the best things.
We will go back to that, but when they revealed who that was, who it is that's been exploding heads the whole time. Go ahead. Well, I can see you chomping at the bit to say something.
I never saw that coming.
No, me neither.
No, you can keep going. Literally, my head is just like,
yeah.
Your mind is blown.
I kept asking the question, like, who is this? Who is doing this?
Right, and you know, the first one we saw was Rayner, right? The old CIA handler.
Poor Rainer.
When she was saying, "Oh, you know what? I think it's," and then
Yeah.
and then to see it happen all during that hearing all the time, and it makes me wonder if she is related somehow to that girl in that medical facility,
Right.
that also has the same power.
Yeah. She was making people
bald?
explode too. Yep.
Yeah, the bald one. I think her name
What
was
happened to
Cindy,
her?
and she was just making heads explode too.
She's loose.
yeah,
Yeah,
and she's like
but-
out in the wild.
That's
Um,
why I thought it was her. And I think we were meant to.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a red herring.
Because
Absolutely.
she's loose out there or something.
But Victoria mentions she has a daughter
Yeah, maybe
a couple
it's
of
her.
times.
Maybe it's her.
So, but yeah, and then you wonder, so does that mean she actually is working for Vought, but just as a second channel? Or is she a renegade soup
doing her own thing.
doing her own thing against Vought? And here's Huey innocently thinking that she's just, a congresswoman that's doing good.
I know. And he goes to work for her. It's like, whoa.
To the tune of Billy Joel's "You Only the Good Die Young."
Yes.
But the only part that I'm still confused about is why did she kill I can't think of his name.
The head of the church.
Yeah.
I don't know if we know yet.
I don't
What
think
did
we
he
know
say
yet.
on the phone? He was like, she said
Oh,
something about like the documents. We have a lot of documents on Vought.
That's right. He was. It sounded like he was somehow blackmailing Vought for tax-exempt status for his church, which also makes it interesting that he's trying to rehabilitate these fallen soups to try and get them into the 7.
Right.
And he chose A-Train over the Deep. Poor Deep.
Yeah. After all that.
I'm watching Gossip Girl now, so it's very interesting to watch him in this light.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's-
A totally
he's
different
from that,
character,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Nate Archibald.
That's too funny.
But yeah, I think in season 3 is when we'll find out what her motives are and why she killed the head of the church. I am curious to find out like how he's found and what the church does, because you figure the church is going to cover it up somehow, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Season 3 looks good. I heard that Soldier Boy is going to be in season 3.
Soldier Boy.
Well, I've also heard there's also supposedly Jensen Ackles
Is playing Soldier Boy.
Well, he's supposedly, I don't know if it's confirmed who he's playing yet.
I don't know. It's confirmed,
but I know that
that's
he's supposedly, because he and Kripke are obviously friends and from Supernatural and everything.
Right.
And that he's, Padalecki is going on to be Texas Ranger,
right,
with his wife. So he's going to do that. So Jensen Ackles needs some work. So looks like he's coming to season 3. So that's going to be awesome.
Season 3.
But let's not. We do need to wrap it up as we're getting close to the end here. But I can't go without mentioning one of the most brilliant casting, as far as I'm concerned.
I love this
of Lamplighter, who has the power of fire. Right, he can
control
fire. Was played by Iceman himself from the X-Men.
Sean Ashmore.
Sean Ashmore has played an ice controlling mutant and a fire control. I mean, I just thought that was genius casting.
As soon as he showed up on the screen as Lamplighter, I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
So fun. And his costume, when he shows up with his costume,
with
his hood and his little staff, and they're just looking at him like,
and they're
what?
And they're laughing at him.
So funny. I was like, that, because again, it's one of those. This show treats this like superheroes are real. If somebody walked around like that, like they do in the comics, you'd be like, what are you wearing? Like, what, right? Like somebody would comment like, excuse me, Superman, your underwear is on the outside. Like no one bothers to let him know. I mean, Lois doesn't even have the courage to tell Superman he's wearing his underwear on the wrong side. But I don't know. But I just think I love that scene. I thought that was hilarious.
I bet she'd tell Clark Kent that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She'd tell Clark Kent wears his clothes appropriately.
That's true. And glasses. Yeah.
He wouldn't be caught dead with his underwear on the outside. No. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, are we going to tell them about Becca?
Oh. Yeah. So the sad ending, right? Yeah.
He spent all that time trying to get to her.
I know.
And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I can. And then she dies. And the poor boy, who I think I feel like is more powerful than Homelander.
That's what Vought seems to think. I think that's why Giancarlo Esposito, who is awesome
Edgar.
in everything.
Oh, everything he plays.
Right now he's in 2 great shows, The Boys and The Mandalorian. The guy, and then he was on Breaking Bad as a great
Breaking Bad character,
and
he was on Better Call Saul.
Yep.
Yeah,
so good in this too. He's just so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wants that kid because that kid might be the only one who could defeat Homelander if need be. So they're basically trying to find their kryptonite. It's like we created a god who could kill us all, and we didn't manufacture a kill switch. Like we don't know what to do if this guy decides to turn on us. And so that's what the sun means to Vought, I think.
And if you remember, with Stormfront and Homelander, he was shooting his laser beams at her and she was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But with Ryan, it turned her into lamplighter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So either Homelander was holding back, which is probably the case, but also Ryan obviously must have at least as much power as Homelander. And you're right. It's a tragic ending. Ryan, out of sheer anguish and fear and anger, probably in trying to save his own mother, ends up somehow killing her too. And you could see, I mean, Carl Urban did such a great job of showing that kind of rage after Becca died. And when he picked up that crowbar, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I thought he was going to go for him.
I thought he was
like, oh no.
Because he didn't want, he was going to leave with her and leave the kid anyway. He didn't care.
He was going to leave the kid.
And now will he become the father of this kid because of Becca's request, or will he blow it off?
He gave him away.
Well, I think he did. I think he gave him away to protect him.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that
he's not done.
He's not done with
that kid. I mean, he promised Becca, so it's coming back at some point.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Great show.
Oh, what a great show.
That I have a hard time
you can't
recommending to people. Just because I know, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people just, it's too much, right? I mean, the show goes too far in some situations for some people. Like it's just, if you are at all squeamish or, you know what I mean, then this is not the show for you. But it is,
and that
it is a very well made and well written and brilliantly acted on all cylinders. Like every single person
absolutely
is perfectly cast.
Yeah, it's really, really one of those TV shows that's just so well done.
Movie.
Yeah, it might as well be. But it does make you wonder if they put Huey's fiance's death so close to the beginning of the first episode on purpose, just to kind of go, just so you know.
Yeah. There's one of these in every episode. Someone explodes, sometimes many people, in every episode.
Sure. Yeah. If you can't handle this, then don't bother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's going to be our show for today. We want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I want to thank Utah and Aaliyah for coming back and spending this time with me. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are very excited. We have got a lot of stuff lined up for you. I've been working hard to try to program out into the future what we're going to be talking about. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be having a spectacular streaming service smackdown next week. We are basically going to be talking about all these streaming services are coming out of nowhere, and everyone was all excited about cutting the cord and saving some money. And now we're spending 8 times what we spent before on cable to watch all these shows. So we're going to talk about what shows are worth the cost, what shows aren't, which streaming services have the shows we're looking for, all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to try to line them up and see what you guys think. We're also going to be welcoming back to the show Lou Tambone and Rich Handley. They will be here on our October 30th episode. So that's our Halloween episode. Ooh. And they have a new book coming out called Musing with Monsters, or Musings on Monsters, Observations of Classic Horror. And so we're going to be talking about classic monster movies and who are the best. We're going to rank them. Each of us is going to have our ranking of the best classic monsters and horror monsters. That will be our spooky Halloween episode, and we're giving away a copy of that book. So check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/WorldGoneGeek, and you can see where to enter to win that. All you have to do is like our Facebook and like our Twitter and like all of our stuff. Just like us, please like us, and we might give you a book.
Can I enter?
You can't. You are ineligible. So. But you're welcome to go to Amazon.com and pre-order the book. Or
I've been trying to find it.
Pre-order it. It's not on there yet. It's actually hasn't been released yet. But as soon as it is released, you will.
I'm going to order.
The winner will get a copy, and we are going to draw the winner on that episode, that October 30th episode. So you've got 2 weeks to enter that contest to win that book for free. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast player. We really, really appreciate that you are listening to the show. We love to see those little numbers pop up. We know there are people all over the world, it turns out, actually listening to us ramble on about these things. So we appreciate you. You're the reason that we're doing it. We do have fun, actually, just hanging out and talking to each other. But we could do that without recording it if it weren't for you guys. So thank you for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Next time?
Next time? Is it next time?
We're gonna have a necktie episode, so everyone wear a necktie next week. And if you're listening to it, you also have to be wearing a necktie. It's our special necktie episode. Next time on The Podcast Is Real. Thanks, guys.
The Podcast Is Real is a World Gone Geek production.